Hello friends, I hope you're doing really well today. It is Friday and I know this video was a little unplanned, so I didn't know how I would be able to do it, where I would be, and even what time to do it. So if you're coming live to this, thank you so much, because I know I've been unpredictable this week, not on purpose, but just because of life, right? So if you don't know who I am, my name is Tracy Brown. I'm a somatic nutrition therapist and a tune eating expert, and we are finishing up the very delicate topic of pride and how that shows up in our eating and in recovery. And I thought I would finish up today with a few of the sneaky ways that it actually does show up in recovery, and how are we going to remedy that. And so we're going to talk about all that today. So everybody who's coming live, thank you so much. I'm going to say good morning to some people. So Leslie, thank you so much for coming. If you have questions about this topic, please put them in while I have some time to chat with everybody live here today. And I want to thank people who have been watching this series, because I didn't know how this would land. I felt like rooting out hidden pride and how I handled myself in recovery was one of the most beneficial, if not difficult, things I ever did. And I'm not saying that I still don't have pride in probably other areas of my life. I'm always investigating it. I kind of put myself through the ringer most weeks to look at where I have blind spots in just about everything in my life. And I invite the people in my life to, show me where that might show up, or places that I think that aren't that big a deal that maybe impact others. So I invite that kind of critique. And the only way I was able to do that and to actually handle it was obviously by working on my capacity around my sense of self and identity. And the way pride shows up in our life in recovery was like some of those first steps, like 20 something years ago. So let me tell you a couple of things that I've noticed in myself and in clients that gets in the way of really being free. And that kind of freedom that honestly humbles you so much. You're so grateful that you don't think you're so great. It's pretty awesome, I'll be honest. So here's some things I notice in people. Is pride in being unwell. Basically pride in having a thing, like having an eating disorder. And I know that that's really hard to admit, that it's a thing that might make you different from others or kind of special. If you feel this way, I handle this situation in the most delicate of ways. Like it's soft, and it's like doing surgery with the tiniest little pair of tools that you could possibly do. Is just be really gentle about it. There's probably a function for feeling like I feel special for having this thing, and it keeps people, and really one of the function is it keeps us at arm's length from our own internal pain that we might even know we have about certain topics in our life. And it also kind of keeps people a little bit of distance at us from maybe expecting things from us or criticizing us or whatever. Another way that pride shows up is in our food identity. So identifying with being the most ethical vegan ever, or being gluten-free, or being able to be really good at going to the gym when you don't feel like it, or counting calories, or just trying to feel above it all. And again, that is always like a pendulum swing way to the other side of feeling insecure and not good enough. That's the bottom line. And feeling like if I have an identity in some kind of food realm, it keeps me from feeling small and not good enough. And if you're feeling that way, again, don't beat yourself up about it. It's just like, yeah. And then lastly, if I think of these three things, I had pride in my exercise. Of course, I had pride in my food. I had pride of being above it all and trying to not have needs. But the biggest one that was obvious for me was as I was doing recovery, feeling like I kind of had things figured out, like I was more enlightened or something, and pride in not being scared of doing therapy anymore. And once I kind of saw that, oh, I am so not better than other people who haven't done as much therapy as me, or who haven't read as many books or done all the work, quote unquote, is that I started to feel like that was also a disconnecting piece in my life. And I'm like, wait a minute, everybody has their own journey. I don't have to agree with everybody. I don't have to agree with really anybody about anything, to be honest, to be okay, and maybe they can be okay. And it's really interesting that pride, it will jump from like it being about your body size, your movement, your food, even into like how you do recovery and comparing yourself to others. And the thing that we can do to uproot all of this is just to acknowledge that it's a thing for you in your life. You know, whether it's in your work, your school, your recovery, your relationships, is feeling like if you feel like you've got it, you're doing it right and you've got it all figured out, and you feel like if you don't, you feel shaminess, there's probably some pride there. And so just recognize like, oh yeah, I'm doing that thing where I think that like, I'm doing so good in recovery today, and maybe I'm better than others. And then the next day you're having a bad day and you feel like you're total crap, and you're like all the way back to the beginning. Neither one are true. And so first step is recognizing that like, man, I'm just on this journey of trying to feel like I can come home to myself, and really there be this equilibrium with like, I'm not the worst, I'm not the best, it's okay. And lastly, have a lot of compassion. You know, pride is really just a boomerang effect of feeling so much shame and so much smallness that we want to reach for something to get away from that feeling of like vulnerability, shame, whatever. So pride is always the flip side of something else. And being able to recognize that, you can start to really just use my phrase here. Oh, I'm doing that thing right now. And pride never makes us feel good. It's you're up on a mountaintop all by yourself. And what we really want from, you know, trying to get thinner, trying to be at the gym longer hours more than anybody else, and be stronger and tougher and not have needs, is just not to feel bad. That's it. And so if we can have a solution from whatever's making us feel bad, we might find that we don't need pride so much, you know, and it kind of starts to melt away a bit. And there's something that humility is, you would think it's this bad thing, but actually it feels pretty good not to like take your food and your weight and your body and even your recovery. It's all work and it's all necessary, but sometimes we take it too seriously because we want to get it right, and that's understandable. You can still do a good job and make progress, but not do it perfectly and have moments of missing the mark. That's okay. Just keep moving forward and bring compassion to everything you're doing the best you can. So thank you all so much for watching this series. I know it's not the most exciting one. In fact, actually it brings up a lot of stuff in people for introspection that is not always easy. But easy isn't what gets us recovered, right? It is being willing to look at things through the lens of like, I wonder what the function of this is. How might this be serving me? But it also gives me consequences and side effects, and there's something better. And it might just be the humility of like, I don't need the food, the fitness level, the body size, the knowing it all to be good enough. And maybe it's okay if we're not always feeling good enough. It doesn't mean that you're still not good. So thank you all so much for watching. We are going to be swinging back around to some food work next week, so I hope you stay tuned for all that. And in the meantime, have a great weekend, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.